asked that I express our gratitude to each of you for joining us today. Saying goodbye to someone you love is hard, and she greatly appreciates your thoughts, your prayers, and your kind words. Today is my honor to speak on behalf of my sisters, Rosemary and Virginia, my brother Brad, and myself, to share with you some memories of our father, E.R. Bob Lewis, and to honor a life well lived. Dad was born 100 years ago in rural Mississippi. Life was very difficult then. The life expectancy for a newborn boy was 47 years. There were no commercial airlines. There was no television. It would be decades before cell phones, the internet, Google, and Facebook. Indeed, Dad was a young boy before he saw his first automobile. Dad attended a two-room schoolhouse. At 9, he fell ill with the flu during the 1918 worldwide flu epidemic that killed many people. His father died when he was a teenager. When he was 20, the Great Depression engulfed our nation. Still, he managed to attend and graduate from college. He met and married our mother at a time when the only certainty about the future was that it would be difficult. FDR was president when Dad married Mom. The nation was just coming out of the Depression and would soon enter World War II. Like so many who were part of the greatest generation, Dad volunteered for the U.S. Army. He entered as a private, served on active duty for 4 years during the war, and advanced to the first lieutenant. My own entry into this world came on an Army base in Florida at the hands of the camp psychiatrist, the significance of which is open to speculation. Throughout his life, Dad filled many roles. Soda jerk in an ice cream parlor where he met Mom. CCC worker, owner of a dry cleaning business, coach, real estate agent. But if there were two roles that defined Dad, they were family man and teacher. Professionally, he was a science teacher and a scientist who was chosen to be the commander of the chemical warfare unit at Camp Gordon Johnson during the war. I learned physics from Dad at Estrella High School. In a rather unique teachable moment, he taught our class about color and color blindness by uncovering a chart of colored dots and asking me what number was visible on the chart, knowing I was someone who couldn't see the numbering because I was colorblind. Dad was always teaching us at home. He brought home achievement tests from school and asked us to compete for who could score the highest above their grade level. He always had thought-provoking questions, like how far can a dog run into the woods? Why can't a man buried in Winston-Salem be buried west of Mississippi? Not dead. I don't ever remember Dad telling us what we had to do. Instead, he would teach us so that we would choose to do the right thing. When I showed too much interest in words written on a bathroom wall, he just said, "Fools' names and fools' faces always appear in fool places." When I used a few dirty words, he said, "Vulgar language is the sign of a man with inadequate vocabulary." So I wanted to do better. Dad loved LSU basketball and football, reading, hunting and fishing, gardening, and working in the yard. He could repair any small engine. He loved debating the important issues of the day, something Dad, Brad, and I had to do on the carport because Mom found our vigorous arguments a bit unpleasant. After retiring, Dad especially liked spending time with his grandchildren, teaching them to play bridge, checkers, and chess. Dad had many traits that made him the man he was, that made us admire him, that made Brad and me want to be like our dad. He was intelligent and wise, proud and yet modest, determined and hardworking, respectful and considerate of others. He was practical, ethical, generous, kind, loyal. He was stoic. He never complained. He always put the needs and interests of others before his own. Rosemary, Brad, Virginia, and I had a wonderful childhood, free of many of the stresses and problems that young people today face. If we ever did without something we needed, I'm not aware of what it was, so in the long run, it must not have been very important. When we first moved to Baton Rouge, we lived on Hollywood Street. Dad would rise early in the cold mornings to light space heaters before we awoke. On summer mornings, he left early to work in a large garden that helped keep fresh food on our table. Throughout our childhood, Mom and Dad worked very hard and always sacrificed to put the needs of their children ahead of their own. On Dad's 50th birthday, we moved into the only home Mom and Dad have ever owned. With fondness, I remember Dad would walk into our room each morning, flip the light switch, and say, "Gonna sleep your life away?" I would hop out of bed, knowing that Mom would have breakfast ready to eat. Dad said that his father chose to farm the hill country of Mississippi rather than the rich Delta because of his concern of malaria and his desire for his children to escape this dreaded disease and grow to be an adult. Dad was teaching us that it was the duty of each generation to do whatever it takes to enable their children to enjoy an even better life. Dad told Mom he would always be there to take care of her. Even as health and age got the better of him, he still wanted to provide for Mom. Indeed, he may have held on so long because of the strength of his character and his sense of duty. The most important thing that Dad and Mom gave us is their value system. We learned to value truth for its own sake, to value personal honor over material things, to do the right thing because it was right, to treat all people with respect, to value knowledge, love learning for the sake of learning. Dad taught us persistence, sacrifice, and hard work. Compassion, caring, and respect for others are part of our heritage. We learned it was not victory or being the best that was the true measure of success, but whether we had given our best to the effort. My sisters, brothers, and I all graduated from college, reasonably good grades. We've been able to lead comfortable lives free of many of the hardships our parents endured. We hope that we have been able to pass on to our children many of the values and life lessons we learned from our dad. So today we thank Dad as we honor a wonderful husband, father, teacher. His was not just a long life, but a life well lived. Permit me to end these comments with the words of a poem from Lloyd Tennyson that Dad wanted read at his funeral. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark. And may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place, the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar.